Coming up on this week's episode of the Bill Duffield Show.
And at the center of that, by design, is BlackRock Center for the Arts. So instead of a town hall or a piazza or a city center, it is an arts center. And what's beautiful is that we serve the center of this community through the lens of arts and culture and community.
Welcome back to the Bill Duffield Show. This is a new bi-weekly podcast where I interview community leaders around the United States. This includes government officials, elected officials, nonprofit professionals, volunteer leaders, and more. This week, I'm really excited to interview Katie Hecklinger. She is the Chief Executive Officer of BlackRock Center for the Arts in Germantown, Maryland. This nonprofit has a special place in my heart because I've done some work with them in the past. So with that, let's welcome Katie to the show and learn more about BlackRock. How are you doing, Katie?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, Bill. As you mentioned, we had the chance to work together during the pandemic. And so I appreciate what you do. You're very talented at what you do. And so it's nice to chat. It's been a couple years now.
Yeah, it has. And likewise, I really like what you guys do in the community, promoting the arts, and different things like that. So I'm really excited to have you guys on here so everybody can learn more about what you do.
Mm-hmm. We're a cool spot for sure.
Yep. All right. So let's kind of start with an easy one. So can you tell us a little about your background and how you became involved with BlackRock Center for the Arts?
Sure. It's an adventure, unexpected journey. I spent 22 years in education prior to joining the nonprofit sector, specifically with the arts and education. I started out in the late 90s as a first grade teacher, but fostering the creativity of my students and having a really thriving learning environment where kids could be curious, kids could create, kids could imagine, was an important facet of my classroom. And then on the side, the arts are what got me through what was a tremendously challenging education myself. So I sang in show choir, I played the clarinet in the band, I performed on the dance team, I took photography. In fact, I filled my own academic credentials so much with the arts that it became challenging for me to get into college because I had taken so many arts and not enough academics, but they really are what pulled me through and kept me going. And so as I embarked on becoming an educator myself, that was critical, that I knew that kids, in order to learn, had to have a creative and curious and well-nurtured mind through arts integration. So fast forward 22 plus years in education, I became a curriculum writer and wrote curriculum with integrated arts. I became an assistant principal and helped guide other teachers through creative and critical thinking in their own classrooms. And it was at the point where I was at the crossroads of becoming a principal that I really felt that that I hadn't been as creative in my position and role as I had wanted to. So I resigned with the idea of taking a sabbatical, and I'm mid-career, midlife. What does the next chapter work? And it led me to BlackRock Center for the Arts as director of education. So the nonprofit sector was completely new to me. I'm fortunate enough to be married to another executive CEO of nonprofit leadership. So, and then I had a wonderful mentor, Lynn Arndt, really took the time to make sure that I learned, the difference between public education and administration and leadership in the public school sector, and how that can be translated so beautifully to the nonprofit sector. So during the pandemic, I supported Lynn as becoming her chief program officer, where I moved on from just focusing on the development of education at BlackRock into the gallery and performing arts. So 5 years in, I'm now CEO at BlackRock Center for the Arts. I use the background I have in education every single day, from I'm cleaning classrooms today, managing and cleaning classrooms, to organizational development, to building the capacity of our team because learning and the arts are so integrated and hand in hand.
When I was in high school, I was really kind of introduced to the arts for the first time. My photography teacher, Miss Osgood, she really inspired me to get into being more creative. I actually went to community college for graphic design, and then was also into like substitute teaching and all that for a little bit before spreading my wings, I guess, and going into politics and nonprofit work and all that. But the two do really go hand in hand, I think. So can you tell us a little bit about BlackRock, the history and kind of the mission?
Yeah, so what's also serendipitous is that I grew up in Germantown, which is where BlackRock resides. There's a small town just adjacent. It's Darnestown. In fact, they don't even have a post office, but I grew up there. And this was home for me from the time I was 3 until I was ready to head out to the University of Maryland at 19. And never thought I would come back to this area. I ended up coming back to Germantown to care for my mother, bring her home. And Germantown was a completely different place in the 16 years that I was out and about. I had the opportunity to teach in Italy. I became a city girl and moved to Washington, D.C., and then settled with my husband in Tacoma Park, which is still pretty urban, and never wanted to head back outside the Beltway and into the suburbs again. But what I discovered as I brought my mom home and had the space to care for her with my 2 young kids is that Germantown had really grown in a really beautiful way in that 16 years in terms of its diversity. And just in size, at first, where am I going to eat? Where are we going to go do things for arts and culture? How are we going to connect with people? And so in the heart of Germantown, which is this, 100,000 people, the third largest in the state of Maryland outside of Baltimore and Columbia, Maryland, is Germantown. And it is one of the most diverse cities, unincorporated, quote, cities in the country. And at the center of that, by design, is BlackRock Center for the Arts. So instead of a town hall or a piazza or a city center, it is an arts center. And what's beautiful is that we serve the center of this community through the lens of arts and culture and community. So there's a civic responsibility in terms of bringing people together to exchange culture, to exchange experiences, to grieve, to think, to love, to enjoy all through the arts. So from festivals and movies on the lawn to Oktoberfest to go-go bands, we are, for lack of a better words, the Heart Center with a capital A-R-T as the heart of Germantown. We open our doors to the Mondays on Mondays to allow other nonprofits to come in and use the space for showers for displaced clients who don't have a home that they have access to. And so coupled with arts is just really service and accessibility, because we understand that what brings us together and what we have in common is really the human experience, which is reflected through arts and culture.
Yeah, that's awesome. Like when I first learned about BlackRock, that was one of the things I really noticed. Like it really is like the center of Germantown.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything's kind of like around it, and it's kind of really like the center of it, which is really cool.
Yeah, and we hope that everyone feels that it's their space. I mean, you belong here, whether or not you're 100 or an infant. This is your space, and we want people to come in and enjoy the art, learn something, and feel that this is part of being a Germantown or Germantownian. That this space belongs to you. And so we are excited about the future in that way, and the potential of Germantown as a town center with BlackRock at its core.
Yeah, and we'll definitely touch base on like the future and all that. Mm-hmm. But what type of programs and services do you offer the community?
No, it's extremely diverse. So we open our lawn on every second Saturday between April and December to local artisans and small businesses. and a few of our sponsors so that they can sell everything from earrings to candles to clothing to ice cream on the outdoor lawn. So it's an artisans market. And then we've invited, in the spirit of the holidays, high school choirs, Montgomery College, and other local performing groups. Our ACT-SO students through the NAACP are going to be performing poetry slam. And so we open up our stage to the community for entertainment while people shop. The Chamber of Commerce will be here. Germantown Gaithersburg Chamber of Commerce will be here giving out hot chocolate and cookies. And we will have, we top the evening off with a drag show, a holiday festive drag performance. So that's one day, and you can see the diversity of programming that's going to be happening here on Saturday. At the same time, kids will be coming and going for guitar classes, piano classes. On Sundays, free theater will be here, another nonprofit that makes BlackRock their home for rehearsal as they prepare for their production of Hadestown. Last night, we were the premiere of a local filmmaker as he launched his film and ribbon cutting for the premiere of the film. So we are home to other nonprofits and other art leaders who need the brick and mortar and need an affordable space to showcase that work, as well as BlackRock creating that intersection of where choir meets artisan meets guitar, kid coming in to have a guitar lesson. So a multi-purpose cultural arts center and a true, center for where all of those things intersect.
Yeah, that's awesome. You kind of touched this a little bit, but how do you get the local community involved with BlackRock because you're kind of in that center of Germantown?
That has been one of our greatest challenges, honestly, is, we'll have people come in because they heard about an artist, and then that once they're through the doors, oh my gosh, I didn't know you were here. Post-COVID, we have a very small marketing budget. You know that firsthand.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Yep.
not a lot of money for advertising or print ads. And so we rely a lot on the word of mouth. But I think most importantly, listening to the community that we serve and being open-minded about what that art looks like in terms of how it's curated, how we celebrate it, opening our doors and giving artists those spaces. So we worked with another festival we had at the beginning of November was a Diwali festival. And I worked closely with the director of the Kuchipudi Dance Academy, which is a classical Indian dance form, and really let her lead what that experience would look like for all of the other dance institutions, the food vendors, Bollywood DJ, and let her be the voice that allowed folks to come in and hear and feel comfortable in the space. And so partnering with other people in the community who are doing this art and doing it really beautifully and connecting with the communities is extremely important to getting the word out.
Gotcha. Can you share some success stories?
Yeah, there's so many. I'll use last Sunday night as an example. Go-go, for any of your listeners that are from the DC DMV area, is a genre of music that is really from DC, created in DC, and has had a ton of influences from R&B to hip hop to rap. That go-go beat is something that's contagious, delivers joy, and a lot of our go-go bands reside here in DC. But what's wonderful is to see as the years have passed that genre has expanded. And just recently, we on Sunday we had Rare Essence, which is a go-go band legend out here on Sunday night, and I was thrilled to work with our council member Marilyn Balcom and our artistic director to make it Rare Essence Day in Germantown on December 8th. To see diverse genres of music in underrepresented communities awarded and celebrated for their influence on art and music in the DMV, and to have that work happen up here in Germantown is something I'm honored and thrilled about, and more to come to see that recognition happen in a place like Germantown that may not necessarily have been able to lift up these voices or celebrates the arts in this way in the past. So we're excited about being the potentially, I like to say, maybe the home of go-go in Upper Montgomery County
That's
in the years to come.
that's awesome. Yep. Cool. All right. So we kind of touched on this again a little bit, but what are some of the challenges that BlackRock is facing?
Our greatest challenge is financial sustainability. We're the arts, and often the cost to put the artist on the stage is, if we're lucky, if we break even, and accessibility is important to us. So you're not going to find ticket prices at a $250 price tag. And we want people to be able to afford a $50 ticket, a $10 ticket, depending on the arts experience. And we're also seeing that sponsorships and philanthropy in terms of corporate sponsorships, revenue from galas and things has been challenging in a post-COVID environment. And so establishing where we can deliver on the excellent programming and put art in space and bring people together and have the team of people here on staff that do that work is expensive and has a cost to it. And post-COVID, we have just seen a dip in some of those resources. But I'm optimistic because I believe that folks understand the impact and the role that we play in the community. It's a pay it forward, invest in the places that make, give where you live and see the return on the quality of life and the impact that it has on the community.
So what are the three biggest things people can do to support BlackRock?
Well, you can become a member and come, fill the seats. And that's twofold. Not only are you getting something out of it, joy. People need to carve out space for themselves or space to share with somebody else. And so come become a member and come see a show. If you're a corporate, if you're in the corporate sector and you are interested in giving back to communities doing good work, become a sponsor. We have a few sponsors that make the art possible, like Wegmans hosted our summer series where we offer DJs on the lawn, free movies on the lawn, and bands throughout the summer. It's not summer if you can't drive down the road and see a movie outside, and pull out a blanket, or have a place to go on Friday night and listen to good music, and popcorn, sodas, beer. We offer that for free. And so it's great to have someone like Wegmans support us with a corporate sponsorship that allows us to do free programming and then spread the word. We use a lot of social media and Eventbrite and other strategies to get the word out, as you said. So by following us on the social media and liking us, you will have an infinite impact on our reach, which we are grateful for. So you see something, like it, share it, and spread the word about all the cool things that are happening.
Now I'll put the link to their website, social media, and all that in the show notes, so you guys can easily access all that.
Yep, and you're good about that. Thank you for liking and spreading the word and keeping in touch after all this time.
You're welcome. Yep. What are your plans for the future? Do you see the role of art centers changing over the next 10 to 20 years?
So BlackRock just completed a strategic plan with the future in mind. And I alluded, we don't have it on the website up yet, but the role of community and lifting and spotlighting local voices will be critical. And you can see from the fact, what I shared earlier about, BlackRock being at the center of this space, it is critical to lift and highlight those voices. We are the city center. We're an unincorporated city, and it is through the lens of arts and culture that we will be able to make Germantown, realize its potential. And I'm excited about what that could look like over time. And so that strategic plan and implementing that, we have a $1.2 million bond from the state, which is extremely generous and amazing that the state of Maryland supports us in this way to revitalize the outdoor stage. And that is so that the community can come and use this space as shared space. It'll incorporate public art, and rethink how the space is used so that folks can come up, and read a book or come to a movie, come to a concert, walk their dog, and that it's a really super inviting place where there's exposure to public art. So we've got a lot of these bond initiatives taking place that are really pave a beautiful future. And these projects take time. So the outdoor stage, I'm calling it the Great Lawn Project, as it's coupled with a master plan to rethink the city center and how people interact with a town center with BlackRock right up in front.
That's awesome. And I love how the state is getting involved and helping with that. So as we kind of close out this episode, do you have any upcoming expeditions or events or fundraisers that you want to share with everyone?
Yes, so on Martin Luther King weekend, we have another one of our hallmark festivals. It's called Say It Loud, Play It Loud, yes. And it's a series of film festivals with Martin Luther King, the celebration of his legacy at its heart. We also, with this concept of Play It Loud, bring in vinyl vendors. So it becomes a revolving door of vinyl records, music, DJs, and film to really reflect the power of voice for good and using your words and using art for good, and spreading those messages in service to and in honor of Martin Luther King. That night there'll be a show topping it off with Mohini Day, who is an incredible bassist. If you have not heard of Mohini Day, you need to look her up and you need to Google her and you need to follow her. She'll be closing out the evening of that festival. So that's going to be pretty spectacular. We've got the Macmillan pipe bands. I don't know if you got to see any of the pipe bands while you were here, but if you have never,
I did not, but I want to.
Yep. If you've never seen a bagpipe band concert, you are missing out. It will, hit you at its core. Macmillan Pipe Band is coming back. And then in March, we have BlackRock's first ever trad festival, which will be folk music and bluegrass. That's on the 29th of March, which is going to be spectacular. Really in partnership, as again, with Ellen Gira and Jocelyn Pettit, who are supporting us with the programming of that show, which will include square dancing and different workshops and bluegrass music. Our big fundraiser, so I'm going to end with this, is called Art Enlightens. It's on March 8th. It'll be featuring a boots and bling and barbecue theme. Seldom Seen will be playing another local bluegrass and beloved band. And we will give out our Visionary Award. Nominees for that will be evaluated, and we'll be honoring someone truly special who contributes to arts and culture in Montgomery County. So that's a little lineup, but you really should follow us on our website because you don't have all the time, Bill, for me to go on about. I don't know if you can hear the piano behind me, but there's voice lessons going on behind me. There's always something going on.
Yep. Definitely. So with that, that's going to be it for this week's episode. I want to thank Katie for joining.
Thank you for having me. So great to see you.
You're welcome. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review. Thanks for watching, everybody.